welcome to office hours for July 17th, 2022. And yeah, happy you're here and getting the medicine you need. And yeah, aloha. Hey, welcome. What's up, Julia? Good to see you from around the world. And glad you guys are tuning in here. Um, it's a special day. It's Susan's birthday today, turning getting older and wiser and all those things. So good day for me. But luckily, she's a forgiving wife and able to. We both support Korean natural farming and the work and efforts that we're doing here. So she's cool with me doing this on her birthday instead of spending the whole day on Sunday with her. But thanks to her and you know, just yeah, such wonderful, great person in my life. And so hopefully the volume's coming through for you guys well here. Did set up my little um, uh, audio interface a little bit differently. I'm going through my Zoom and I don't know, just kind of trying to make things better here. And happy birthday to Thomas as well. Good to see you, man. Getting older, getting wiser, getting more microbes in your life. What could be better? Hey, thank you. All right, so we'll start off today with a little bit of higher wisdom. And today is the exact um, hexagram we were just talking about. We were just playing some board games last night. Some friends came over, settled some Catan, played Machikoro. Machikoro. It's kind of an interesting new game, but it's all about modesty. If you kick too much butt, people don't want to play with you. So here it is, Modesty. The creative acts to empty what is full and to offer abundance to what is modest. This hexagram suggests that deepening of one's modesty now is a sure means of improving the situation. There is no power so great as modesty for compelling the assistance of the sage, nor one so hindering as immodesty. Those in high places who retain their modesty are loved by all and continually prosper. Those below who cultivate modesty inevitably rise on the strengths of their merits without making enemies along the way. But what does modesty mean? Certainly, it entails a refusal to boast or act imperiously with others, even in small ways. But beyond this steadfast humility, it also means that our effort to discern what is right and then do it is constant. We do not work against ourselves, and we do not indulge in doubts about the wisdom of correct conduct. This unwavering commitment to what is correct might be called the modesty before the sage. So, there is in modesty a component of non-action, that is, not indulging in arrogant, ego-centered behavior, as well as a component of active effort, looking for opportunities to correct ourselves, to assist justice where there's injustice, to feed where there is hunger, and to give solace where there's pain. Finally, and most plainly, modesty means holding to innocence, sincerity, and openness in every situation. To do this is to empty yourself and make room for the blessings of the creative to take root. So for sure, oh, that's a good one. I always notice that if I'm too proud or to think like, oh, especially when it comes to board games, like, oh, I think I'm going to win. And, you start taking an early lead. And then, if you've ever played Settlers of Catan, then everyone targets you with the robber and just messes up your things. And you build a city. And then it's like, oh, they put the robber there. And then, you can't collect anything. And it just, the best is to be subtle and sly if you're going to play the game. Like, to just put your faith in the higher power and be like, I think I'm going to win this, but not going to be too proud and just going to go about it the right way. So, um, and also I want to thank you guys for showing up here, just, continually showing up. And I hope that, trying to be a modest leader here in natural farming and, trying to set a good example of not being like, oh, I know all this. Even though I may be, I don't know, one of the more, I think the most senior person on the Big Island practicing besides Dr. Park, but he doesn't really do a bunch of natural farming. He's more of a teacher and educator. He's a doctor. He used to be a pediatrician. Now he's kind of retired. And with Kim Chang passing away this past year, I think that, I'm pretty sure I'm the most senior person on the island, which is kind of crazy. It's like, of modesty. I don't try to like, when I was writing a bio the other day, because I'm trying to I'm teaching a class down at Hawaiian Sanctuary. So if you're on the Big Island, you're interested in getting in on a class. I think I put it on my calendar here. Let me see what it is. It's in August, and it will be, let's see here. It's their Thursday class. Oh, I went the wrong way. And it will be the 18th, or the 11th and the 18th. So both, I'm teaching two classes. The 11th is going to be on natural farming, just making it simple, making it easy, because my friend David Forsyth, who used to do the Microbial Secret Society with me, he just taught down there, and he did a bunch of stuff about natural farming. Hopefully that buzzing noise isn't coming through to you guys. It's interesting, this deal here. So he just taught some natural farming classes because, it's a happening thing. He's been doing the practice, doing the education. So it's great to see other young, new teachers get out there and spread the word and share. But I'll also be following up. And so I didn't want to like pinch on him what he's teaching too much. So my whole goal is to take like the things I've learned over time, and just like I do here with this office hour, is really to try to simplify it and try to make it as easy as possible. And, part of that, I get rid of the acronyms besides KNF, right? But, just talking about food, medicine, cleanser, fuel, reproduction, structure, minerals, medicine, all those things in terms that people can understand. Because when I try to teach and I only have like a 2-3 hour session, it's like, well, okay, I don't want to teach you a whole bunch of new stuff. I want to instead take what you know and plug you into what you already can learn. Like you already know about food, right? You can tell if a plant is hungry. You already know about sickness. You can tell if a plant is sick. So calling it food and medicine. Oh, the volume's a little low. I can crank it up if you need. If it's coming in a little stronger there. I can bring it in, but it's going to pick up a little background noise that way. So anyway, yeah, teaching these things, bringing them all in, and trying to simplify it. So that's my goal for teaching down Hawaiian Sanctuary on the 11th will be to simplify natural farming. And then on the 18th, I will be doing the livestock, because I think that's one of the things that sets me apart from some other folks, is that I've been raising no-smell pigs and chickens for over a decade now, at least. I was calculating it out the other day, and they're asking me how long have I been doing natural farming, and I was like, well, I think it's like 15 years or so, at least. I started 2007, so I think that's like 15 years, something like that. So sharing the animals and that livestock, the feeds, the nutrient cycle between them, of when you should use this and that and those things. Here, I'll turn it up for you guys and turn it down on my end, the monitoring side. So bringing that in, so I'll be teaching a little bit here 2 classes. I think they're free to the public, although you should, when you go, you should make a donation to at least Hawaiian Sanctuary or whatever. I'll also have some books there for sale. So if you want to get a hard copy book of my recipe book, I'll have those with me. And want to give a shout out to Naylor, who I saw at Home Depot. So just being a person cruising around in my hometown and seeing people that he saw me in the aisle and he's like, Drake? I was like, oh yeah, yeah. Hey, how's it? And he's like, oh, I watch your office hours. And I was like, oh, that's great, man. And so somebody that's, on the Big Island even, because this is great. It's like global community, people from Finland, Florida, New York, where else are you from? Put it in the chat. We'll see. All over the world here. Panama, and but people from my own hometown see me. Oh, Utah, what's up? Yeah, Utah, Panama. I already said that. Nah, you. But yeah. So, but it's so great to see people where they're not just like, oh, like pissed off at you. When you come with modesty and it's humility, then you don't make enemies along the way, and it's a great way to rise up. Oh, what's up, Seattle, Uruguay, Isle of Man? I don't even know where that is. Must have a lot of men there. New Mexico, man, this is great. This is like, you guys are all over up in here. But so anyway, back to Naylor. It's just like, he tunes into this, but he said he doesn't watch it live. He watches it afterwards. So shout out to all the people that get the replays on these and check them out. Because this is, it's a great archive service that we have here. And if you're not here live, it's always there. And yeah, Florida. Yeah, you guys, man, all over the country. This is the thing. Like, I was talking like, what do I want to do this year for natural farming? It's like, if I can empower you guys are in New York, man, you got to link up with the Goof Man. He's up in New York too. But you guys, like, if you guys can start these natural farming teachings in your areas and get people really tuned in, I mean, this is what's going to change the world. Especially, Seattle is a great place. I was just up there. I was just in Bellingham. Some great folks in Seattle that I know that are doing this. And Mark's out there, and or Ontario. What? Wow. Yeah, Canadians even. No, what's all this about? I love Canadians, man. I had a brethren come down. Trevor. He was from Peace River, which is way the heck up in Canada, and he brought some sweet agates that are still in our house. So we keep them around our bed. And this global community, if you can teach these people where you're at, like, look at this, we can change the world. So anyway, teaching some classes, doing those things. Colombia, oh man, yeah, all these places need natural farming, right? The deserts like Arizona, New Mexico, man, you can grow amazing stuff in the desert. I'd love to see what you guys got going, sharing back and those things. And I do, Post Up Media, Joel here, he sent me a video last week. Let me pull it up here. Gotta get into my emails. Come on. And verify it's me. Yes, it is. Oh, I gotta type in my password. Oh, I didn't type it in right. You know why? I got my... There, I typed it in right. It is me. Turns out it is me. And he sent a little seed soak solution here. So I just wanted to show this up here of what he got going, because I didn't watch this, and again, sorry, I don't have volume on this because I got a Mac Studio. The foundation just ended up purchasing one of these, and it doesn't have the the deal on there. So I'm just gonna pull up this video and play it here. Transition this over. Oh, maybe it is playing for you guys. But I'm just gonna pause this video for 1 sec. So you notice that when he took these transplants out, everyone tries to keep the soil on them and stuff, but the Korean natural farming way is actually to bare root them like this, because just to fill in a little bit of theory with this is that when Master Cho takes it, it's he some people say this like sexist or racist or I don't know, whatever, cancel culture these days, but he takes it and he shakes off the soil, because he says it's like when you take a woman and she goes to marry a man, and this is kind of old Korean values, so maybe you can be like, oh, it's like, women marry women these days and whatever, you can get all PC if you wanted to, but the idea is that you shake off the dirt, because that's like your baggage, and you don't want to bring that to your new marriage, which is like the transplant going into the new soil. So if you take the old soil with it and bring it into the new soil, it's like bringing all these baggage and things that it's better off just to give her a dowry, which is like what he's doing here. He's soaking it in this plant juice and in this mixture that's up on the screen here, which is the seed soak solution. And he's putting it into here, and then they're powering up with this. So he's not bringing the old baggage, which is that potting soil. He's powering this up, and as soon as you plant these into prep soil, now the microbes are going to be like, hey, that was what I wanted, and they're going to join it and go. So it's kind of interesting, because natural farming, it's like you give them this hard knock life when you're transplanting them. You bare root them, and most people would be like, oh, don't do that. Like, especially with durians or different trees, they're like, oh no, the roots are so sensitive. But I tell you what, you do this, you bare root them, you transplant them, you soak them in here in the seed soak solution, put them into the ground, and you get even better results. So anyway, just a little pause there to fill in for some theory on what he's doing here, but he's doing it right. That's awesome to see, Joel. Soaking them. Looks like these are like coffees, looks like. Not sure. Oh, and he's transplanting them up to a bigger... Oh, and newspaper pots, man. No, it's not newspaper pots. Thought you were going to go 100% sustainable, but plastic. No. Oh, that's hilarious to kind of, what do you call, hassle each other on like, it's like, you're using plastic still? It's like, yeah, man, it's like, it's 2022, man. You got to do what makes sense, right? So yeah, that's cool, man. I love your little short videos. They're so cool. And to see these things happening, what's up, how they're going. Okay. And, yeah, hey, HJS Divine Hands, man. If people don't want to listen to you because of your ethnic background, man, don't worry about it. It's the modesty. It's this modesty of just continue to do it. And when your crops are outperforming everybody, and when you're growing better and you're using less money, less water, and you're growing better things with less pest damage and more robust, delicious food, people will listen to you. So it's about modesty. It's not, like just because you're ethnic or whatever, man. Don't worry, man. It's all one people. We're all one people in this land, and people of Earth, God's children, all of us, and so don't worry about it, man. Just keep persistent, keep modest, keep doing it, and you'll persevere and thrive, and it'll work out really well for you. So, and you guys are in, yeah, I hope you guys link up. You guys, Cooperstown, all that. It says, it's kind of funny when you first join the YouTube, I think it gives you a warning like, don't divulge personal details, but here we are divulging personal details in the chat. But yeah, it's good people to link up in here. You guys are in Long Island, no rain for a month. And I never watered due to heavy chemicals in the municipal water, yet plants doing great. Those roots must be deep down. Microbes did that. Yeah. 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 You know, the microbes, you don't need to water. The funny thing is there's plenty of water in the air. There's plenty of water in the air, right? And so if you get the soil and it's just like how you get condensation on a cup. And if you can get the soil deep and cool, then the air penetrates down and the water then condensates out. So it'll actually pull water out of the air, just similar like dew at night, but like happening underground. And the actual air is full of water and it lets it out underground. So thinking it needs to rain for a bunch of water is not necessarily true. There's, with great microbes, good biochar, good microbes in the soil, it's amazing. So um, yeah. So yeah, cool. The metaphor of the planting and that, and it's kind of a weird metaphor. Some people when Master Cho came, some people would complain like, oh, it's like, but he's from a different era of old school, and those metaphors still make sense, especially if you're really thinking about, when you bring back gender roles into farming of like man has strength, women has caring, and these things like. I feel like one of the reasons we get upset about those today is we're so disconnected from nature and things that it becomes hard to understand how genders really fit into like what how it builds stable families, how it builds stable farms, how it builds stable communities. And I don't really want to go out on that one here. I'll just be modest on it and just say it's up to each person to find their happiness. And I think that through nature, the way we've been designed of you know it really works well. So if you can find your niche and get in, it's great. So, um, oh, no sound broke your heart, man. I can hear the music. Maybe it's just looping back for me, and or maybe it's not playing for you. But I'll figure out the sound. In fact, I can buy a program for $100 called Loopback, which will do it for me. So I'll get the sound working here in the next little bit here. I was reluctant to like spend $100 to buy this the loopback software for the thing because they canceled Soundflower. It doesn't work on the M1 hardware. So anyway, it's the bane of buying a new architecture computer that's faster and better and whatever. But at least this is running smooth, right? And yeah. Oh, and I'll link the thing. So if you do want to check out his videos there with all the sound. And Western Australia, KNF in the desert. We're now in our rainy season. So you guys that are all in the desert doing all that, I hope you take the time to check out the Microbial Secret Society. And I might set it up so that you can just get a single episode. But if you go here to Microbial Secret Society, which is microbialsecret.org, and then you go under micro celebrities, and you look up Sam Bevins here. He has because he's in the desert, right? He was up in Israel. I'm not sure where he's at these days. I haven't checked in with Sam for a little while, but he has the he's farming in the Israeli desert. I don't know if it's out in the Middle East. It's dry there. I mean, it's like when you think of a desert, I usually think of those areas, the Sahara and like Israel, and I'm sure it's nice out there too. But he's this episode here, irrigation without water, polymorphism, Bechamp. If you're not familiar with Bechamp, it's amazing. We got into that, talking about, just these theories of life. And then again, desert KNF, Israel farming without water. So both these episodes, I mean, look at the cover art here. I mean, it was just like, yeah, there's camels, there's cacti, pyramids, because he was doing a bunch of stuff down in Egypt too. And so, look at these palm trees and these things. But look, his stuff's thriving. There's a pile there. Look at the mycelium reaching out, making his flowers grow nice. Maybe it's some kava, and spraying his stuff, his solutions. Like the cover art has all the secrets in it, right? And so it's all there. Don't spend $100. uh, Yeah, well, I probably could run the thing out and then back into because I do have this Zoom H6 sitting in front of me, which is what I'm running my audio through today. Because I used to do the podcast, right? So the Zoom H6 is my podcast rig, where I'd go around and just interview folks with the for the podcast on this thing. It's a great little tool if you're into podcasting and stuff. I highly recommend Zoom H6. But spending $100 for it, yeah, well, we'll see. Um, okay. So what's the biggest size tractor you feel comfortable using that won't damage the structure microbes of the soil? And from what I understand, like, and this, I'm kind of out there on this, but I don't think that tractors really damage the soil too much. I have a New Holland 1510. And so I'll pull this up here, get some images of it, and show you what I got. So I'm rolling one of these bad boys here. It's similar to this Ford tractor, but it's this New Holland here. I got the same bucket on it. Mine's definitely not a 2010 or 2009. It's an older one. But it's not a huge tractor. It's not like this one here. I don't think that's still a 1510. I think that's a little bit bigger. But it's one of these here. And let's see. These other ones. These are not the same ones I have. But I got one like this with the bucket on it. And let's see. I don't know what the weight is on this thing. Do they say a weight? No, it doesn't say a weight. But it's not these tires, the way they spread out the weight, it's not that they're compressing. It's more of like the tillage that you do when you destroy the soil structure and then you drive over it. And the thing is, like, if you're putting protectors behind you, the lactic acid bacteria is behind you, and the IMOs, they'll break through that compaction. And I wouldn't really worry about tractors compressing the land. It's more like after you till and then it rains, it makes this pan. And like hard pan happens under the plow layer because you till and then it rains and that really compacts it versus like the machine itself compacting it. I think the whole idea of the machine itself compacting, because like tracks and treads and the way it spreads out the weight, it's not that much weight on the soil. I mean, sure, if you drive over something, it will compress it, right? I'm not trying to say it's not that, but I'm saying in terms of compaction factor, the tractor isn't one of the main things I think that compacts the soil. I think it's other poor practices that happen that compact the soil in a way than rather than the tractor itself. So what's the biggest machine? I would get the smallest machine you can work with, because getting a huge machine, it doesn't odds are your tractor will sit idle most of the time if it's just you, unless you have a cooperative that you're sharing the tractor with. And getting something small, because the smaller it is, the easier it is to fit within things. A big tractor, you think you can pull a whole bunch and do a big area, and you can, but it depends. It depends. If you're doing like thousands of acres, big tractor makes sense. But if you're doing like, on our 25 acres, the biggest thing for me is the bucket, because I'm able to lift up heavy stuff and carry it around the farm and move things. More than I use implements for tilling and mashing. I'm mostly like carrying materials with it and burying things and lifting things up. That's primarily what I'm using the tractor for. And then also we got our sprayer, which we're just gonna buy a 3-point hitch for the back, forklift 3-point hitch, so we can pick up. And our spray tank's kind of broken, so we're gonna do that and put out a boom and make these things go. So anyway, hopefully that answers, what's the biggest tractor. I'd get as small as possible and get the right implements and get these. What's up, Tyler? Hey, man. So Tyler, he visited the farm here and made a sweet video about the farm. And what's up? For spray and foliar, are there any specific combo of solutions you don't want to mix in the same sprayer? And I'd say no. I mean, you potentially, if you were a super wild man and you were just like, not heeding any of the recommendations and you just wanted to ignore everything and just like go for it, you could potentially go and take all the 9 core solutions, all of these here, and put them in your sprayer and spray them all. And it wouldn't be good, it wouldn't be bad, it would just be okay. You could put all 9 of these, the microbes, protectors, food, cleanser, medicine, structure, fuel, reproduction, and minerals. And they don't really, they would all work, right? But what's recommended is to follow these, where you have a maintenance formula, a soil formula, seed formula, leaf, bloom, fruit, and harvest, and then matching those, which these are then in this table here. So if you wanted to mix a maintenance, you'd add food, cleanser, medicine, and structure, and add a maintenance. And that's just for general maintenance. Or if you wanted to do your plants are coming into bloom, you go with a food, cleanser, medicine, structure, fuel, protectors, and minerals, because those are going to support blooming at that period, where you're adding in like a little bit of fuel, the extra minerals, the extra protectors to help it in this period. You can even increase this structure a little bit here, because that really helps that bloom. But these are just general guidelines of like how and when to use things. Are there any things you don't want to add? Maybe like, if you're going to spray the Jadam pesticides, for instance, spray those, then come back with the KNF stuff. But really, and if you're worried about your sprayer having contamination, just pour protectors in there, diluted like 1 to 20, 1 to 30, 1 to 40, 1 to 50 maybe, and leave those in there, and the lactobacillus will eat out any contamination. So really, I wouldn't worry too much about it for what you not want to mix things in the same sprayer. I mean, even if you use like herbicides, chemical herbicides or whatever, just put lactobacillus in there, leave it for 5 days with water, and it'll eat out those chemicals and should clean everything up, so it should be clear. They're the protectors, right? They protect you from these poisons and everything. So, even if you bought a new sprayer used from somebody, you don't know what they sprayed, just put lactobacillus in there. So, sorry you're late. You're not late. You're here right on time. Yeah, any dads will understand. Okay, and so I got way back here on the chat here. So if I'm growing a ton of lettuce and cabbage, but also tomatoes, eggplants, etc., that are starting to fruit, do I need to apply 2 different maintenance solutions? So oftentimes, like this is a great question. Oftentimes in this maintenance solution here, where you see, I'll zoom it in a little bit more here and see, but in this maintenance solution, it's calling for 1 food, 1 cleanser, 1 medicine, 1 structure, all of these ratios into 1 gallon. So 8 milliliters, 8 milliliters, 4 into 1 gallon. However, what you can do here is you can put up to 3 foods in there and not change these ratios. So even though it seems a little bit counterintuitive, like you're adding more sugar, more of these things, it's not. You're really just adding these diverse enzymes. So if you're growing all 3 of those things, you could add in, something from growing tips, a KNF food from growing tips, and then a KNF food from like fermented eggplant or something. So you get those fruits plus the tips, and then maybe a third one, which would be, I don't know, maybe some bamboo to help accelerate the growth. And now you put those 3 foods in there. All those are 8 milliliters. So now you've added way more than I've said here, but it's not enough to like kick it over. It's once you go past 3, say I added 4 of these in, now I got to add less than 8 milliliters of each to get down, to keep it under that ratio. But you can mix in multiple foods. That's what's nice about this. And if you have multiple crops, you can mix many of these in here. So, and that goes for any of these where you're adding these food. Anytime it calls for food, feel free to add 3 of them in, and it's going to be more than than it says here, but that's just like in general, that's our recommendation that Master Cho has passed down, and it's totally legit to do. So don't worry about that. Just add a few more in there, and that way you'll get that combo that you're looking for and those great growths. Yeah, you use a device called a Spader. That's what I do. I have this device right here, which is probably the same one you have. So this Spader here, where it's not really a good picture of it from right there, but if you look at it, it just has a bunch of shovels that spin versus tilling. And so as opposed to like a tiller like this, where you're going to actually spin the soil and grind it up and grind it, instead what a spader does, let's see if we can get a picture of it. It's this one. It's a pretty good one. It's these shovels. And the basic way it works is the shovel goes down and then pops up, goes down and pops up, goes down and pops up. And it's as a bunch of people that spaded your land. And so it's different than tilling because it's not going to really spin the land and take the top and bury it to the bottom. It's just going to break up your top layer. And so I also run an Italian spader, just like this one right here in this picture. I run this same machine on my tractor. So key is to put it in super low horsepower, almost idling, and just run it across the land. And it's like, I always say it's like 20 Kanakas behind you digging, it's amazing how fast and what you can do with this machine. So the right machines, I'm all about that, getting the right things, the right places. So let's see here. Yeah, the maintenance solutions, common denominator. You guys are good doing these things here. You guys are on it. Yeah. Per the solution app, there are different ratios for leaf stage fruit. That's what I mean. Oh. If the app's different than my thing, man. I don't. Yeah. Anyway, I gotta check in on those things. It's like I haven't updated the software since forever, and I'm pretty sure it's still correct because I did that off Master Cho's spreadsheet, like with him to be like, hey, is this correct? He's like, yeah. So, yeah, okay. So yeah, getting the right machines here. The spader, it's well worth an investment, especially if you have a big, tractor like that to drive it. Yeah, so I think I kind of answered that one about the different things. So Jerome is asking, does the flowers you can't mention on YouTube follow the same fat skinny schedule as in your feed schedule? And I want to go, maybe now is a good time just to talk a little bit about nutrient cycle. Let me zoom out here. And I don't really show it here. Okay. Basically what so before I get into this, basically I want you to notice. Okay, so I'm just going to explain this here with just a little bit of hand waving stuff. So hopefully you can see my hand waving, right? Oh, yeah. So basically you have three main phases. You have a childhood, a teenager, and a adulthood, or when you're able to get pregnant, okay? So those are your three phases. So in this side of but then within that, it goes chubby, skinny, puberty, chubby, skinny, harvest. And that's the same thing as if you have a baby and it's still a baby, but it comes out skinny, right? But then it immediately starts to get chubby. So you start to give it a chubby thing. Then the baby starts to get skinny again as it starts to toddle around. Then it goes and it gets chubby again. Because, as you go through this phase, Thomas with an actual kid, I don't have a kid yet, so I haven't actually observed this. I've only heard Master Cho talk about it, and I've seen it, and I know it happens. But, right before you go into 6th grade, you're getting chubby, and then you're going skinny, and then you go into puberty. And so basically you got to understand there's two of these things. There's one big one, which is going like this, like one big phase, which only goes 3 times, like 3 like 1, 2, 3, like childhood, teenager, pregnancy, right? 1, 2, 3. But then there's this other one that's going up and down, vibrating back and forth. And this one's oscillating back and forth. And so there's 2 phases. There's a big wave, which is slow. And then there's this high frequency wave, especially since I'm doing more radio stuff these days. This high frequency wave is coming through. And so it's a combo of knowing this and adjusting your sprays. And this is where it's like the most advanced natural farming gets into, where it's complex and all these things, because each crop is different how it does this. Some have multiple puberty stages, and it's very hard to explain just in a general way. And I say that, but it's actually fairly easy, because the basic thing is that in these childhood ones, the food that I want to use in each of these is a food from leaf tips. The food I want to use in this one is from unripe fruits and flowers. The food I want to use in this one is from fruits, okay? So hopefully you guys can see that. Maybe I make my cursor bigger. Let's see here. Can I do that real quick? I don't know if it's in accessibility. I shouldn't try to do this while I'm live. Okay, hopefully you guys can see my mouse here. But it's going, so that's your main thing. But then you're going to put a chubby, skinny. So you're going from a leaf to a fruit, like these sprays. And you're oscillating between these. And then you go into the bloom, and then leaf, fruit. But the food that's in these is changing. So if I go from here back up to this table here, in this case, if I'm doing a leaf and a fruit spray for the early stage, the food that I'm going to have in here is going to be a food from growth tips. Okay, so both these are going to be a food from growth tips. The food that I have in this one is going to be a food. So then as I go into the puberty phase here, then the food that I want to have in this one, here in the puberty formula, the bloom formula here, is going to be from unripe fruits and flowers, right? And then as I head over to here and I get into this phase of the plant, like after their blooms, flowers are starting to set, fruits are starting to grow into this phase. The same leaf and fruit, I'm going to change so that the food that goes into the same leaf and fruit is now going to be from ripe fruits. And so that's the way you're matching these up, is for optimal growth. Like, say you're in a greenhouse, you're doing monocultures, you're able to do these things where you're not polyculture and you're able to just concentrate these nutrients in. That's how you're going to modify these foods that are in there. And that's why when it's translated through my translation of it, I don't have the acronyms of FPJ and FFJ because that kind of confuses folks. So when you use it, you would think you'd use FFJ here and FPJ there. It's not true. It's these different foods used at different times. That's why I call it all food here. So if you've learned from someone else and they've made it unclear that way, here's the clarification right here. Nutrient cycle. Early stage, these foods are made from growth tips. Puberty, they're made from unripe fruits and flowers. And then later, once you're past that and you're into the reproductive thing, you make these foods from ripe fruits. So hopefully that clarifies that and it's all good there. Because that's how you follow the schedule for what's happening. Yeah, and I like what Thomas said about alternating 1 week and then the other week of what you're doing. It's really hard when you're polyculturing. I mean, the thing is, when we're in Korea, it's like a completely different thing. I mean, here I'm gonna show you, like when I'm in Korea. Let's see here, my channel, and then I'm gonna go down here. So at my channel here, and then I'm going to scroll down to where, we're in Korea doing a tour. Where is that? It's got to be on this. Really? Okay. Well, that's these are the things. Nothing like learning from yourself when you go to your channel to show something and it's not there. I only have live. Don't I? Oh, here. Okay, it's right here. So these are like when I go to Korea, right? So like, let's look at this here. And, here, let's see here. Let's see, which one? Looks like this trip was mostly politics. Let's see, that 25th, that wasn't the best tour to click on. Let's see this 2016 tour. I don't think this one was nearly as much politics. Yeah, this one we went to the Jadam stuff and did all this. Shoot, are they even good? Yeah, so like here's an example of a farm where it's like, if you look at it, like they're just growing apples, right, in pairs. they're not doing a whole bunch of polycultures like permaculture. They don't necessarily even know and believe in that. And here we are, we're just looking at just one crop, and they're all in the same phase, right? So it's not like I have to like mix my sprays up because I got different crops and different things. Like when I'm learning with those guys, it's like they got all one thing, and all these pears are gonna come ripe like on the same day, kind of thing. It's not like there's different things and different seasons and different things. So you gotta adapt what you're learning here to your situation. If you have a polyculture and you're doing it differently than this, um, it's different. Here's another grape farm that we're at, where it's just grapes and they're all at one phase of growth in one area. I guess, let's see, most of the grapes here. Like, look, all the grapes, they're all coming ripe at the same time. It's not like there's a bunch. So he just makes one thing and puts it out there. And that's how they're using this stuff. So anyway, just to kind of clarify that, it's like, adapt it to what you're at, getting those things. So yeah. So so Sweeter Than Anything is saying, I don't like to include herbal germicides besides conventional, the KNF medicine and other simple things like chili peppers. Yeah, it makes sense. Keep it clean. Yeah, and adding cleanser for every food to keep it balanced. That's, yeah, great, Michael. It's great advice here. Mitchell, sorry, Mitchell. I gotta see. I'm sitting a few feet away from my monitor here, so. Okay, so yeah, catabolic versus anabolic, kind of. Yeah, probably. Those are probably the scientific terms I'm looking for that I just don't have. But yeah, totally. These things, they all work together. Um, in expansion, yeah, vertical, skinny, getting tall, chubby, getting wide, skinny, chubby. Like, we all go through those phases. BJ Penn for governor 2022. Yeah, getting the fight for the cookies, right? Yeah, I don't know. I've watched him on Joe Rogan. I'm not sure he's quite up to being the governor. Um, yeah, auxins and cytokines. Yeah, these are the scientific names. Um, Greg, man, you're getting in here weird, man. No, keep the politics out of it. So the food, every politician, if they embrace natural farming, they'd have a stronger platform than whatever they're running on. I'd like to see the KNF candidate. I don't think I'm gonna run for office again. Did it twice already. Finished pretty good both times. It wasn't too bad. Um, so Partita is asking, as so the foods steer the plant between growth and reproduction, and it's not that the foods steer it, because you can feed it the wrong food at the wrong time and it's not going to force it into the other behavior. It's what it needs. Like, the whole point of putting in you know let's see, the whole point of where was I kind of trying to scroll around on this thing while I'm doing two things at once. um the whole point of putting in fruits, like the whole point, I'm going to go back to the nutrient cycle here. The whole point of putting in fruits at this period are fruits tend to be higher in the potassium and and then unripe fruit happens to be higher in phosphorus, and the leaf tips happen to be higher in nitrogen. And so if you look at it from just like a simple NPK basis, you want more nitrogen here, you want more phosphorus here, and you want more potassium here. And it's just like they're already balanced, though, because if it's in the plant when it needs it, like, because you're getting it from the fruit when it needs it, so you're gonna just take that and balance it back to that exact time. It already has the nutrient combos it needs. So one like simple way to like convince university folks is to be like, well, there's N, P, or NK and P, and that's how NKP is how it's going, and that's what you're going to get. And then there's also more calciums in this period that's happening. and you're always getting calphos and you're getting the soil formula, like it's just balancing out and you're giving it back. So it's not gonna, just because I eat this certain food isn't gonna force me into a certain behavior. But if I eat the right food at the right time, that's what's gonna give me the nutrition I'm craving at that time. So it's more of giving it what it needs when it needs it versus forcing it into something by saying, oh, I'm gonna feed it this and then it's gonna make it fruit. No, it's more like, if it's fruiting and you give it food from fruits, it's going to be like, oh, that's the nourishment I need. It's like eating right for your diet, for your age. Babies need different nutrition than adults, all these different things, right? So it's understanding that, and you're not using the solutions that guide something some way. You're more knowing it's going to go that way. So if I provide these nutrients right now, it's going to ease my plant into this phase that it's going to head into, right? So it's not, you're not forcing, you're more like supporting is a way to think of it. So and shoot, right after this I'll send out the latest recipe book to all you guys that bought the other one, because I know I've been dragging my feet on that. I'm apologize. It's, oh man, I tell you, it's like, when you get older in life, you have these projects and then they start hanging on you, and it's like, oh, I gotta stay up to my people and show respect to the people that support and nourish them back. And it's a two-way street. And then when that happens, that's better. But sometimes, man, it's like, oh, like I'll get texts and I'll read them and I don't reply. It's like, oh man, it's like, I just gotta get onto that thing of doing it. So and so Greg, when you're saying Dr. Bugbee at Utah State once said that a hungry root has more vigor than an overfed one. And you're not overfeeding these things. You're feeding the plants foliarly, and they're going to reach out into the soil for microorganisms. And that's why you're not amending into the whole. And it's, I mean, I don't know. Your attitude is kind of negative here, so I'm just going to ignore that. Let's see here. Oh, thanks, Tyler. What's up? I'll give some of that to Suze. It's her birthday. Thanks. Appreciate super chats keeping me going. If I get 5 more or 4 more $20 ones, man, I can afford the loop back thing. Even though Joel doesn't want me to buy it, but hey, feeding bolted. That's why I assumed I am starting to have decent collection feeding bolted mint juice to basil transplants later. Yeah, I think all this is good. Yeah. Is there any plants that would be beneficial exudates you can use for universal food sprays that would help balance out monocrops? Hey, thank you. What's up, Tomato 33? You know, yeah. Beneficial exudates, man. Bamboo is always a good choice. Comfrey is always a good choice. What's another general purpose plant that grows? Horsetail, because of all the silica in it. Depends what the weeds that are thriving in your area. You can always plant comfrey. It'll grow pretty much anywhere in America, I think, even in around the world. But yeah, I'd say that's the most general purpose. Or bamboos, they grow pretty diverse as well. And they might not agree in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is not practicing Korean natural farming, and if anything, the recipes they need in Sri Lanka, if anyone has contacts in Sri Lanka, you need to get them this recipe right here, these two, because I've been following that, and they've been destroyed by, they just expected people to go organic. What does organic even mean? It's like they don't even know. And you can't just expect people to change over in 1 year of like going, but they need this to put the microbes, this boiled starch, put this out. It'll start to get break up the fertilizer they did use. And then after this recipe, they need this one here. Just take the leaves, put them into the bucket, rot them, and then put this juice out after 2 weeks and dilute at least 1 to 100 and water it in. and this will fulfill your nutrients. But yeah, they need this heavily, and the whole world's going to go the way of Sri Lanka pretty soon. If you tuned into last week and you understood exponential theory, you really need these two recipes more than anything else. The others are fun, great. You know, you can, if you can afford sugar, you're good. But those are like first world type of things versus this is third world. This is what they need in Sri Lanka. So if you have Sri Lankan contacts and you can translate this into Sri Lankan or whatever language they speak there, get them this. You know, you have my permission to give it to them because they need it right now, and go for it. So take these, translate into Sri Lankan, get it to those folks. These two recipes only. The rest, you know, they don't need because this is really what they need right here. Um, so, yeah. Cool thing. Yeah, the enzymes, the hormones, all these things, life cycles. So when flower starts, feed through drippers. No, just feed them foliarly. You know, I'd watch out for folks that are overeducated. Um, but humility, man, it's all about humility. And just feeding foliar is fine the whole way through. Um, uh, yes, Grouse, who has lactobacillus in the refrigerator for a couple of years. There's green mold growing on the side of the jar. Should I throw it out? Absolutely. It only lasts so long in the deal here. Um, so, oh man, okay. Yeah, Greg's talking himself up. Modesty, man, you weren't here for the beginning. Um, yeah. Okay, so anyway, getting back down into these things. Coming down. Yeah, almost done with time too. Yeah, what's up, Paul from South Africa? Hey, yeah, you guys global here. Yeah, any advice for heavy clay soils very low in organic matter? The Goof Man has great advice on that. You know, he's working in heavy clay. It's just IMOs, man. It works. Yeah, borage is a good one too, Tyler. Thanks for that. Sweeter than anything. Um, yeah, I'm always skeptical of universities though, for some reason. They're good for knowledge, but they're you know, they're always, it's who's funding them, what are they doing? I just, yeah, sorry, and just, you know, modesty. I'm sure they got great things going. I'm not gonna take a non-action, active non-action. Heavy clay, yeah, exactly. Add organic matter. Don't add gypsum, and a little biochar. But yeah, these natural farming things, man, they'll go in great. Mint food. Um, hmm, okay. So let's see here. I'm gonna go into this one here. Okay, perfect. Okay. So, let's see here. So, we got a couple, let's answer a couple more questions here before I go get it back to my wife here. Um, yeah, IMO. Yeah, you guys got it, man. Like, it's great. Side note, do you know anything about agriculture land and the Mormon church owns the United States and the world? Wondering any thoughts you have in any of those. I don't know, but I got a Mormon guy that lives right up the road from me, and he is definitely not doing natural farming, but I think it would be great if they taught it in their church. It'd probably go great with their religion and that kind of stuff. Um, the leadership, we have a problem with the leadership class not being able to comprehend complex systems from synthetic to organic. Yeah, yeah. And pepper leaf here. Okay, cool. Those are great advices. Sweeter than anything. The pepper leaf food, and for all their other peppers and dark purple leaves. Hopefully promote sun resistance. That's a cool idea. Um, yeah, I would love to see some of your IMO, LMO, limo under the scope. Yeah. Um, yeah, cool. So yeah, okay. Well, thanks, guys. Getting here with the time here. Um, what can I do for my microgreens? What would be a great foliar feed? I mean, the solution you really want to put on microgreens is again the leaf solution, because you just want to have it grow a whole bunch of leaves. So this solution here of where you're just doing this one here, the leaf, it has food, make those foods from other sprouts, cleanser, medicine, structure, fuel, protectors, because as they emerge, you want to keep the molds and stuff away. The protectors will help with that. The fuel will really help them grow fast. The structure will keep them firm so they don't melt. The medicine will help improve their immune system. The cleanser will help keep them clean. And the food will give them the nutrition they need. So microgreens, some of the easiest with this recipe right here. You can't go wrong. They already have enough minerals from the seed, and they don't need reproduction because you're not going to reproduce with them. Um, but all those things there are great, and yeah. So yeah, appreciate you guys tuning in this Sunday. Again, if you have, like I said, if you have any questions, you want to get further follow-ups, you know, here knf.org is our the foundation that sponsors these, puts these up, and pureknf.org, and then from here it links you to the office hours, as well as our newsletter here, which I wanted to maybe I think next week I'm going to talk a little bit more about the food taco, because I've been planting mine. Got my potatoes planted in a food taco. Great way to do a raised bed. And, if you need support directory, all these things here, pureknf.org. Thanks to those guys. Thanks to everyone for the super chats. Tyler and Tomato33. Is that how I'm saying it right? I hope so. Anyway, and then as transition back to this guy. Let's see. And we'll bring Flat Eric in to say, aloha, guys. I'll see you next week. Yeah, okay. All right. Love you. Aloha. Bye now. Cool. Well, thanks. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Aloha nui loa.